There we go. Oh no. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is Sunday, as always. We are here live at 9 p.m. J Mac, how long have we been doing this on a Sunday? Good couple of years now, right?
It's even longer than that, man. It's been a long journey, and the Sunday night thing's been going on steady for probably about 4 years, I think.
I know, which has been great for us. Tonight we have a special episode. We love it when we can bring a guest on, talk about their projects, and just essentially pick their brains, as always. Something that we love and something that you guys love, whether you're tuning in from Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, anywhere. Give it a wee share and hopefully your friends will like it too. Tonight we have a special guest, Jason Horton, who has made an array of different styled films as well. Also a creator, an online creator like we are. So it's going to be an absolute blast chatting to him about the process, instances, because you can't do any project without something going down. So before we bring him on, which we will in just a moment, I'm going to go ahead and play the trailer so everybody watching and listening in the archives gets an opportunity to see what's his most recent project, which is A Hard Place.
You said no one would get hurt.
We need to find somewhere to lay low. Somewhere off the grid. I know just the place.
What the hell?
Let's blow this pop stand.
Where are you gonna go? Where? I know you're scared.
You step outside that door, and you'll get tore apart.
We've been warring with these monsters for a long time.
We're caretakers.
They're coming for us.
Shrink this in. Because it's your home now.
The creatures that roam the night and the monsters that rule the day still out there looking for vengeance.
Some salad!
But they all die.
We're just trying to lend a helping hand.
Good luck.
Come get Daddy!
That was intense.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the Jibber Jabber Podcast, Jay Horton. How's it going, Jason? How you
Hello, it's
doing,
doing really good, man. Thanks for having me.
It's absolutely our pleasure.
Yeah.
We always, by the way, as kids of the 80s and 90s, we're quite big on the poster should always sell the film, because when we used to go into Blockbuster, etc., there wouldn't be no Netflix trailer, and the way we would consume trailers at the time was on the front of any VHS.
100%.
So your real way of making, your choice was the posters, and your posters look excellent. We've got a guy, Matthewman, who does poster quite similar.
Oh, thank you.
So was the poster, is that something you had envisioned yourself, or did you give that idea to someone and they kind of conjured it?
So the poster came from actually my special effects artist on the movie. Oh, so nice. He did, it was kind of a different version of that poster. It basically had the screaming, plant lady. And then it was pretty much nothing else. It was just that, and, the title, and it was really cool. And then, as we got closer to distribution, one of the things that's like essential for, selling a movie, you have to have multiple things to post and promote.
Of course.
So I started working on variations. So I took that and then, started adding different elements into it. We had another poster that had the 3 people in it. So I tried some stuff with that. So, and then our distributor ended up using kind of a completely different, like black and white version of that with the barn and some people. So, yeah.
Nice. Well, do you know, when I actually So I did the graphics for the thumbnail. Now when
I love it.
Well, thanks. Well, when we get so we'll get options to ask if we'd be interested in reviewing a film.
Yeah.
Straight away, Hard Place stuck out to us based on the artwork. I was like, oh, this will be fun. So what I do is to keep ahead of the curve, because when we have an idea of doing one episode, I try to do as much of the artwork and etc. the promotional pieces early on.
Yeah,
so
smart.
Before I've even watched the film, so that I'm caught up just with how fast we move as a weekly show. And based on that, that's what had me kind of go with this. Which
I love it.
I mean, it's great because it gives us the kind of vampire feel, but I think after watching it, I'm not talented enough to make it your creatures work, right? So I thought, do you know what? We'll stick with that because it's kind of Wolfie.
I love it. I'm planning on using it for other things.
Oh, good, mate. I'll send you it properly.
Send you I would love it. I would totally use it. Yeah.
So it was hard because I thought to myself, right, based on I purely based it off the images, I thought, I reckon it could be quite werewolfy vampire, but I don't think I'm on the mark with that. What was the way that you?
Well,
J-Mac,
it's funny that you say that though, the vampire werewolf thing, because the initial conception for this movie, and I originally thought of the idea for this movie, well over 20 years ago. Like maybe but right after or right before I did my first movie, like I had an idea for this, and the initial idea was it was going to be basically what it is, except the monsters were going to be vampires and werewolves.
Nice.
and then like the next year, Underworld came out.
Right.
And I was like, they're just gonna say I was ripping off Underworld. So then when I finally did dust off this screenplay years later, like I kept thinking, man, I really like that, but I was like, maybe if I just like changed the monsters, and I came up with kind of a new mythology and created these new creatures, which at the end of the day, I kind of prefer the different monsters. I love vampire movies, love werewolf movies, but I'd like to see new stuff too. So like I wanted to try to do something different.
Yeah, you get that. It's too often certain characters or creatures are just used to death.
Yeah,
like I got a real fatigue with zombie movies back in the early 2000s.
Yeah. Me too.
It was kind of like superhero movies now. Every movie that was coming out was either a zombie film or a superhero movie.
My first two were zombie movies.
This is what I do, man. I just take my foot in it.
No. It's totally fine. It's totally fine because I 100% agree with you. So yeah.
But one thing, just on the trailer that we just watched, one really good thing about that trailer is it's not guilty of what most trailers are nowadays and giving away too much.
Yeah.
You get glimpses of what's going on, but there's no way you could work out from the trailer what these creatures were actually going to be.
Yeah, totally.
I mean, you said that you came up with the idea for them after obviously just sidelining the vampire werewolf thing. How did you come up with the idea for these tree people and the other guys?
I mean, I honestly wish I knew like where the main idea came. Well, okay, I can tell you where the idea came from. So I was trying to come up with a mythology like first, because I usually kind of like work backwards. I try to think of whatever my theme is, or what the story I'm trying to tell. So I was like, I wanted to tell this story that took place in basically the Garden of Eden. So like what would be like the creatures? So I started thinking, well, one of them's got to be like snake, reptile, garden, and then tree, plant was kind of the other idea, because I wanted them to be, opposites. So I was like, okay, I'll do one set of the creatures will be reptilian, one set will be like, plant, natural,
Yeah.
So it's kind of biblical. Now, like in the final movie, like that whole like plot line gets a little buried. Like there's a line when they're in the dinner scene where she like says, "Welcome to the garden," or "We've been here in the garden." Somebody says Eden, but that's really as far as I explained out the mythology in the movie, but that's what it is. This is literally supposed to be the Garden of Eden, and they are both sets of monsters were basically created to keep the garden safe and keep people out. One at night, and one at day, and then over the years they just started feuding.
Yeah.
Based off what you said there, I just kind of came up with my own idea. Here's one you can actually use, by the way. If you're ever sitting there going, not that you'll ever need to use anything I come up with.
Oh, dude,
but if you were ever,
go ahead.
idea of this, right? So I don't believe anything anybody tells me, right? Unless I see it, right?
Yes.
What if there was a story about the dawn of man, right? Because we are so different from what animals are. We're levels above that. We must have came off a spaceship at some point, right? But the rule was this, right? You guys are herbivores, right? You're not supposed to eat meat. So the forbidden fruit is meat. And if you eat it, you don't get into heaven because you're killing something in order to
Okay.
eat. And that's where the first type of meat eater comes from. But you could proper turn that into like a horror. The once Adam or Eve, or whatever that is nowadays, eats a forbidden fruit, the world changes. You know, that would be pretty interesting.
That is.
Sorry, you inspired that there based on.
Yeah. Hey man, take it and run. Take it and run.
So it's ours. We can share
It doesn't take long for Kevin to get inspiration from anything. It really doesn't.
Yeah. But yeah,
we got a comment.
Oh, cool.
No, it's see Matthewman says, "Holla gents, cracking wee movie, mix of Dusk Till Dawn / Chainsaw Massacre and Swamp Thing." Is there any truth to that?
Okay, so I guess we'll take them one at a time. So we'll start with the what was it, From Dusk Till Dawn, Swamp Thing. What was the other?
Texas Chainsaw.
All right, let's start with Texas. So the dinner table scene was completely inspired by the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the first dinner scene with the killers. You know, with the woman, she's tied to the table. Actually, maybe even a little more Texas Chainsaw 2, where it gets a little more like, you know, over the toppy.
Dennis Hopper.
Yeah. Oh my God, that was so cool. But so yeah, that was definitely like a specific inspiration there. From Dusk Till Dawn for sure. Like I'm a huge Tarantino fan, so I love the writing. Robert Rodriguez directed the hell out of that movie. I really like this kind of genre switch. But the one thing in this movie that I really kind of, From Dusk Till Dawn, is like, I love when like some of your main protagonists in horror movies are criminals, you know, and part of that reason is because like you have this group of people that live outside the law, you know, so like they can't count on the law, you know, like they can only count on themselves, and they're typically, you know, proficient with some kind of firearm, like, you know, they understand violence, so they just make more interesting protagonists for me. I like seeing tough guys put up against something that's much more tough, you know. I think that's a really cool dynamic. What was the other one?
Swamp Thing.
So I mean the tree people for sure, and there is a little bit of a, you know, like there's the you know, relationship love thing between, you know, a tree person and a guardian that created this other person. You know, Swamp Thing has kind of a lovelorn thing to it, so yeah, a little bit there. Yeah.
I was getting vibes early on in the movie. There was a couple of things that were crossing my mind as to where I thought inspiration might come from. I might be totally off on this, but when I was looking at like the gore effects and stuff, I was like, this feels like early Peter Jackson stuff.
100%. Yes.
And like Brain Dead, Bad Taste, things like that.
Yes.
And I was also getting video game vibes.
Yeah. So the video game is a little more my DP than me. So like I pretty much, my video game knowledge stopped at like PlayStation 1 and Resident Evil.
Nice.
So there might be a little of that, but definitely the Peter Jackson thing and Sam Raimi. Like I love, like I know there's like in horror, there's, you know, kind of two camps of people. Sometimes people that want it, you know, serious and, you know, scary, and they get mad if there's any humor in it. And then there's people that like a little bit of humor in it. I'm kind of in both camps, but like as a filmmaker, I like to explore different things, you know? So like, I really enjoy, you know, taking a really tense scene, like diffuse it for a second and then build that tension back up. You know, to me, that's more challenging and fun. So like the over the top gore stuff, I just love. I mean, you know, so between this one and, you know, Craving, my last one, the end of that one got really kind of wild. That one's kind of a little more directly From Dusk Till Dawn, because it's basically a group of criminals in a bar. One of them's a monster. We don't know which one it is, and then eventually,
Among Us.
Yeah, the monster turns in the last act of the movie, so it's kind of crime movie for the first hour, and then becomes a monster movie. So it's a little slower burn, but that's yeah, I love those.
Those ones are great. It's one of my favorite ones like that. Is a film called Identity. Ray Liotta. Have you seen that?
Yes, Ray Liotta was. It was like a bunch of people, right? And he was
Right.
John Cusack. Right?
Yes, that's right. And they all go to a motel, but they're all in his mind.
Yes.
So they're
Yeah, it's
doing
a
like
great
a
twist.
That's a But you know what? I find as well that there's so many like very generic type of 6 guys go up to camp.
Yes.
And they're killed. Right. That exists. I find that there's so many great other like stories that the framework's there that a lot of people could play with, but they don't.
Yeah.
Why do you think that is? As a filmmaker, why do you think that is?
I mean, I hate. I'm going to sound a little hoity-toity with this, but I think it's low-hanging fruit. And don't get me wrong, I like a good slasher movie. Like I like them, but you know, like structurally, character-wise, like it's pretty pedestrian. You know, it's like now what elevates those is when you get filmmakers that really understand how to build suspense. You know how to really shoot the gore, the kills. You know, like that can elevate it. You know, and then there's those that, you know, turn them on their ears, and like those are kind of cool. But yeah, I think I just think it's one of them things like people like it's probably the easiest thing to tackle. You know, if you're going to do a horror movie, it's kind of cheap. It's, you know, you can get away with bad acting, you know, whereas, you know, like me and I don't always succeed. But my goal with like every movie, I always try to bite off a little bit more than I can chew. Like I always regardless, I try to do a little bit more than what my budget will allow. I try to work outside my comfort zone, you know, like stuff like that. So like I don't play it safe, and it doesn't always work, you know. And you know, and it could be argued that this one doesn't always work, but you know, it's like I try to do something grander than you know what I have at my disposal.
I mean, I almost feel like this is. I've asked this question so many times to so many different directors and filmmakers, and every time I feel like I'm asking a woman what age she is. What was the budget for this?
No problem. So it was roughly about 200,000. We raised 130,000 through crowdfunding, and probably another like 50 to 70 in equity investments. So
the crowdfunding thing is massive now.
Yeah,
it can be. It's only been around for what, the last maybe 10, 15 years tops. And if you've got the right thing, if people want to get behind it, it's a real good way to bring in investment.
It is. The trick with crowdfunding is like so if you're trying to crowdfund a movie for as much as I did on this one, or you know, my new movie Apex Predators Club, we're just about to crack 200,000 on that.
Wow.
But it's a different thing. Like one of the things you have to do, and there's people that feel all kinds of different ways about this, but you know, like you have to sell supporting roles. You know, like you have to put stuff on that crowdfunder and say, hey, be in this movie with such and such a star, $1,000 or whatever it is, you know, and that's what allows movies, you know, like this to raise that much money, unless you're somebody like Eli Roth or somebody like that, that's, you know, that's going to get, or if you get lucky, like the YouTube guy, Chris Stuckman, I think he raised like $1 million for his, but like he has a YouTube channel with how million subscribers or something, you know, so somebody like me, I have to sell roles. So that's another reason why, you know, like A Hard Place has so many characters. You know, like if I was doing this movie traditionally funded, it probably would have been tighter as far as the number of characters. I think I found a sweet spot for it where I was able to make that work for my movie. But I've seen
just kill everybody off.
Like,
well, you're getting killed.
And it gives you more red shirts, and it gives you an opportunity to do like more colorful characters. But you know, you have to play with the humor, because you're going to get, you know, actors of different abilities when you do a thing like that. I've seen other movies fold under this. Like they'll just sell too many roles. They'll raise a bunch of money, but then the movie's like ridiculous. Like they'll have people literally like standing in a circle, and they're all finishing each other's sentences so that everybody can get a line. It's crazy.
I have a question for you as the director you are, based on what you said there. So what if you've got someone who's put a lot of money into the film, right, gets a role, and they're stinking terrible, how do you take them aside? Because for me, I suppose I would be like, J Mac, you got a minute? I'd like, see how you were saying the line like this. Is there any chance you could just do it a wee bit less shit?
That's exactly it. So for me, it starts way before you get to set. So like when I'm doing a movie like my new one, I'm really doing it on them. Like as soon as somebody gets a role, almost automatically I'm in touch with them. Like if they don't have anything like on film that they can send me, I try to get them to put some of my lines on tape, like just so I can get an idea of what I'm working with. And then once I have kind of a general idea, I go back into the script and I work that character, to them as much as I can. And then you get on set, and then there's little tricks you can do to try to get, more natural performances. And I found over the years, that's the other thing, because, people will say, if you sell roles, you're going to get bad actors, blah, blah, blah. You know what? If you're making a movie for $200,000 or under, you're going to get some bad actors. It's just going to happen, whether you're paying them or they're paying you, whatever. So I've made low budget movies for 25 years. So like, I'm used to working with actors of all different levels, you know what I mean? So like I've gotten pretty good over the years at working around it, whether it's at the writing level or the directing level or the editing level,
Yeah, no, we've read quite a few scripts which have all been masterfully written, and our award-winning film, when I read that, I looked at it and went, right, there's a small cast, right, and I could actually picture the main character as J Mac, and I gave him a phone call, and I was like, J Mac, this guy, literally, he's not definitely like you, but I could see that instances where there was it's a man and a wife that was on the paper. I've kind of witnessed his wife and him having these similar type conversations. So I was like, you would be perfect for this. And I thought, at least if he can't do a good job at acting, he won't have to. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
In my opinion, I smashed that out of the park, right?
Says every actor on the planet.
Totally.
Janice says here, hey guys, Mother's Day here. Our daughter is here spending time. Love y'all. Love to you. Is it Mother's Day where you are as well?
It is. It is.
We don't have that here. Lee says hi. Other Lee says rock on. And Lee from TikTok says, what about a spirit medium run away from the psychotic murderer? That'd be great. That'd be a great movie.
Yeah.
That's quite a true story in her case. She's a spirit medium and she ran away from a psychotic murderer. Crazy. I mean,
I'm laughing. Like, it's really funny. No, it's not.
But lol. Are you ever inspired to write something based off of something you've heard or something you experience? I know we always, if we're writing anything or putting anything down, sometimes we do take parts of our own life. But do you find that happening often to you, where you read something and go, this would be a great idea?
For me, I talked a little bit about it earlier, but everything starts a little more internally. So like usually it's not from stories or something I read, but more like something that happened to me, like emotionally, or something that I'm feeling I'm trying to express, or a place I am in my life. I did a movie called Monsters in the Woods right after I made my third movie called Trap. Trap was my first kind of like attempt at like a thriller drama.
Nice.
And it came out pretty well. We shot it super cheap. It was like $4,000, and it was my fourth movie, and I could not get it distributed. Nobody would pick it up. They were just like, it had no stars. It was cheap. It was a drama. I just couldn't get it picked up, and I was super frustrated. And at one point, one of the distributors said, well, maybe if you just like cut some monsters into it. It was such a ridiculous suggestion, but I was so desperate. I started to kind of think about it, and I was like, okay, well, how would I do this? And so I kind of came up with a story, but then I eventually was like, no, this is fucking stupid. But then I wrote a story about a filmmaker that had to cut monsters into his movie, and that became Monsters in the Woods. So yeah.
Oh, you know what, right? And we will do this at some point, J-Mac, even if it's just you and I. J-Mac and I have a real fondness, and Matthewman, we have a real fondness for films that are ridiculously supposed to be stupid. For example, some of our favourite films that we never thought this would work, but we started doing this series of podcasts called the Watch-Alongs, where we find the worst films, we watch them, and believe it or not, but the people at home watch them and they tune in and we all have a great time, right? We do this live on a Sunday sometimes. And some of those films we've watched have been the absolute best rides ever. Lamageddon. Right? A Killer Pinata.
Yeah. Killer Sofa.
Killer Sofa, right?
And possibly the creme de la creme, the Beaster Bunny.
The Beaster Bunny.
Dude, that's a great title.
Isn't it? The Beaster Bunny. The thing is, can you imagine it?
Poster.
Mate, could you imagine
the poster is great, but it's not very representative of the Beaster Bunny in the movie.
They're usually not.
Like the poster is excellent, and then you watch the film, and the Beaster Bunny looks like imagine a bunny got ran over, started to decay, and then someone picked it up and tried to like make it 3D again, right? And then you blow that up and make it look like it's walking down the street. We were screaming, falling off our chairs. That and just, there's so many of them now that we've done that we have so much fun. Have you ever thought to yourself, do you know what? This will be such a wild ride that anybody will want to distribute that. And just thought, right, because Matthewman actually creates these all the time. He'll come up with an idea and he'll just go, right, I'm going to make this into this. And he makes it into a poster. To the point that one of his posters got picked up and is now being made into a film.
Yeah, I know
no
about
joke.
It. Yeah.
Right? And that one's called Saturday Bite Fever. It's about vampires. Right? It's got a big globe on the front. Oh, phenomenal. It's actually a sequel to a film called Silent Bite.
Silent Bite.
Yeah, I've got it here. Silent Bite.
Oh,
it's a
okay,
sequel
there
to
you
that.
Go. There you go.
Right? So my question to you based on that is, it's a two-parter. Have you ever thought about, do you know what, I'm just going to go the complete opposite way here and make it so ridiculously over the top, ninjas, you know what I mean?
Ninjas.
Yeah, look, add ninjas in it. No matter what it is, put ninjas in it, right?
Yeah.
But then this the second part of the question to that would be, what would your, if you did, what would it be for you? Like, what would your, just give me a title based on anything.
Yeah. Okay, so my title is Caterkiller. And it's
Caterkiller.
It's about a killer caterpillar.
Nice.
Why the fuck have we not thought of that one yet?
Killer caterpillar.
Now
he's tired of being left in Sainsbury's, man. Don't call me a caterpillar cake.
Now, but now my problem is as a writer or a filmmaker, like I start getting a little too like at some point I get too like real about it. You know, so like Caterkiller, while it's a really silly damn premise and a title, like it ended up being more like the script is kind of like the '86 Blob, you know, like
nice.
And it's so it just you know it's hard for me. Like this isn't a super popular opinion over here, but you know, like people really like Sharknado. Sharknado bugs me, like it really. Because it's so like it's so like it just feels arrogant. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Like so bad it's good, and it's not really even that bad. I don't know. It's just arrogant. I just don't like it.
I actually, we are big fans of cheap, nasty shark movies, but I don't really like Sharknado.
Oh,
I really don't.
Yeah. I feel the same way.
Yeah, I think it's almost. Like I like the way you described it was actually kind of perfect, to be honest. Arrogant.
It knows what it's trying to be.
Yeah, but it goes too far with it. I think the
well, it's disingenuine to me. Like a good bad movie. They were trying to make a good movie. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like and then and that therein lies the fun. Like Sharknado is just so self-referential, and you know like that it bothers me.
We had sorry about it. The Room would be a perfect example of that. The guy thought he was making Citizen Kane, and it was just Citizen shit. But it's so much fun to watch.
We had the creator of Sharknado on the show. Actually.
Oh yeah, Adam. He's a super nice dude. I just don't like the movie.
He made a new film. He tried to play it like he went from that to trying to create something that was really serious and really great. In our opinion, it was all right. preferred Sharknado, but I don't know. It's very hard to hear. I came up with one. So J Mac actually, he went on holiday and got a sore boil or something on his ass that had to be operated on. And
I had an abscess in a very inconvenient place.
It
ruined my entire holiday.
Oh,
No, I couldn't. But it was probably one of the most painful things I've ever experienced in my life. And Kevin thought it would be a good idea to turn it into a movie poster,
which would be the Arse Krang. We've all seen Krang from Ninja Turtles, right?
Yeah.
The Arse Krang. Look at that. So I think at some point we're going to come up with the best, most ridiculous film. Chuck a couple of ninjas in it and just go for it. Because I think that there's a joy in that. There must be a joy in making something you know has to be crazy. We've got a couple of comments building up here. This is from Launch Over. Sofia Kokaya and
it's Cacciola.
All right.
Thank you. I always have to correct him. It's always funny. It's always pronunciation is brilliant.
I do it deliberately. So he says J Horton rules. We agree. Janice says someone should make one called Lamageddon. They totally should.
They did.
Yeah. Matthewman, beaver with a cleaver sitting drawn for on the. He did right now.
That's not
beaver.
Bad. That's not
beaver
bad.
with a cleaver. What was the one that he was working on? Bigfoot. Was it a Yeti?
Yeti
Yeti with a machete.
Yeah.
So good. And Wolfman's Got Nard says. What was that?
Tarantula?
Tarantulanch. So it's like an avalanche.
Oh,
Tarantulanch. Mate, that's terrifying.
Dude, that's good.
Mate, I just saw a light bulb going off in your head. He's stealing that.
Tarantulanch. That is great.
Taranturkey. Oh, my picks were cool.
What's the other one? Taranturkey.
Taranturkey.
Wolfman's Got Nards is actually the biggest horror movie channel and YouTube channel in the country here. So
yeah, he's awesome. The Chris Stuckman of Scotland or the UK. Sorry, UK wide, isn't he? He could probably he could here Wolfman. Raise this boy some money for his next feature. Hey, Wolfman should totally be in your next film. Did Wolfman not make a film? He did. He did actually. Wolfman was actually. He's got the rights to. Was it True Lies? No, True Lies. What's that thing with Sarah Michelle Gellar in it where they all backstab each other?
Oh,
Cruel Intentions.
That's it. I'm sure.
True Lies. That's a very different.
I know. Matthewman says Steve Guttenberg starred in Lavalantula.
He's sitting on a gold mine with Tarantulanch.
Tarantulanch, mate, that's phenomenal, isn't it? Can you imagine that? Like,
I can just see the poster, man. Like I can see it.
Yeah.
It's making me itch.
That's gonna be a hit.
It is actually.
We should probably let's go back to your film again.
Yeah.
That's probably a
sorry.
good idea.
I was into that. I'm writing Tarantulanch in my head.
I can see the wheels turning. I can see.
Yeah, he's checked out. He's gone.
It's like Tarantulanch now. Who would I get to play the spider?
I did notice a couple of pretty famous faces pop up in A Hard Place. The first one I spotted was actually the movie within the movie, and I was looking at this woman. I was like, I know her voice. Her face wasn't quite clear. I was like, I know that voice. I think that's the girl from The Crow. So I had to look it up, and I was like, it's her. It's Bai Ling.
Yep.
How did that come about? How did you manage to get her for this?
I honestly, my special effects guy had worked with her a couple of times, and a friend of his. So it really, I think we just ended up going out to her manager. But she, we made an offer and she accepted. But she was like, she's cool. she's like super passionate, like, and this was just a little like movie within a movie thing, but like she took it really seriously. Like I sent her the script, like she had notes on her character, like she was like really, really into it. Like when we were doing the fighting stuff, she'd be like, well, no, I feel like my kick wasn't like fully extended there. And like, like really like she was cool to work with. And there's a extended scene where her and Sadie Katz are on the stairs talking. Like that was a full scene. The sound for it didn't come out so great, so I my plan was always to use more of that, but I didn't. But they were so like they're so good in it. Like their connection was really cool. The idea was I have another script called Chop House or Chop House, which basically is that movie. And like the plan was kind of like maybe do a full version of that at some other point, but it kind of went away from that. But yeah, that was kind of how she came about.
And Felissa Rose.
Yeah.
I mean, as alumni.
Yeah, totally. So I worked with Felissa Rose on my last movie, Craving. I knew we have a lot of mutual friends. So that's actually one of the other actors in that movie was the one that got her in Craving. And everybody kept talking about, I knew she was a good actress. I've seen her and stuff, but everybody kept talking about how nice she was. Like, she's so nice. You won't believe it. And I'm like, yeah, whatever. Dude, she is probably the nicest human being I've ever met in my life. Wow. She radiates sunshine. Like when she steps onto a set, like the set becomes like 50-60% like lighter. Like, so I knew when I did this one, I wanted to cast her again, and I wanted to cast her in a meatier role. And I wanted to give her something that like she gets a lot of stuff, but you don't get to see her stretch herself or like do different things a lot. So like I wanted to like give her something different. And no ego, but I think it's one of her like best performances in this movie. Nice.
Wolfman says, absolutely love Felissa Rose. He also says, what on earth are you talking about? You're getting me mixed up with Ryan Phillippe. Don't worry about it. It happens. Do you know what? I might have, like I say, my brain was hazy. I'm sure I had a conversation where he says he got some sort of rights for something. He absolutely did. I am mixing it up, though. I'm known to do that sometimes. I mix names up or pronounce them wrong. I'm quite known. If you could work with any actor that you've not had the opportunity to for your next film, who would you really like to work with?
George Clooney.
Clooney,
yeah.
Oh, you've thought about that already, haven't you?
No, I just
took
like
a moment.
I always like to throw somebody out that's like outside of the realm of possibility, most likely.
It's not. But I've ever since From Dusk Till Dawn, like I love his presence. Like I think he's got really good range. He's great as a director. He seems like a really cool guy. Like never met him, but he seems like he would be like because for me, just like with Felissa, like Felissa's a great actress, but it's that. Like the reason I would want her on every set, it's not just the acting. You spend 12 hours a day with these people, and you want people that you enjoy spending time with. It's like if you don't, you might as well go be a lawyer or something.
I mean, you hear horror stories about just some people have got a reputation in Hollywood of being difficult to work with and stuff. So trying to navigate that and make sure that you don't put yourself in that situation must be, I mean, it's something to aspire to, really.
Yeah.
You should do what I do, mate. I just send it like 5 emails a week, and just I aim high, and and most of the time it's a no. Yeah. But the odd chance, we've had some really big stars on this podcast, and people are like, "How the hell did you bag that?" I'm like, I asked.
Yeah, it's just reaching out. I found, and as far as like casting actors, unless you're talking about like like George Clooney or Brad Pitt, like A-list, like most working actors want to work. And if you have the money to pay them and they have the opening in their schedule, most of them will do it.
Totally. Eric Roberts, I think he works more than anyone, doesn't he?
Yeah. Some friends of mine are just shooting a movie with him in Texas right now.
Nice. A good few friends of ours have actually worked with him also, eh?
Of course,
they say he's very nice. He just enjoys coming and getting the work done.
Yeah.
Sorry?
I was going to say, I've edited 2 movies with him.
Oh, nice. Which ones were they?
One is called Worth. It was a movie I also wrote. It was a black African-American Christian movie.
Oh, excellent.
It was him and Corey Feldman. And then
excellent.
Yeah. And then I did another one called I can't remember the name of it. It was kind of a thriller. He was like a journalist. But anyway, I don't think it ever came out.
We
Does that happen often? Like, you make something that just doesn't come out?
I mean, it's never happened to me, but I hear about it a lot. I mean, it always it flabbergasts me when people tell me the stories about, you know, I made this movie 5 years ago and it's not out. And I'm like, why? You know, I mean, I guess maybe when you make a movie for so much money and like, you know, if it comes out, I don't know. I've always released everything, even if I wasn't like happy with it. I still like I put it out. You know,
do you have a particular movie that you look back on that you're like, I'm really not happy with that, but I released it anyway? Do you have one in mind?
I have a few, but so the most recent that I've talked about this before, and I keep telling myself I'm going to stop talking bad about this movie, but I just had such a horrible experience shooting it. It's called The Campus. I shot it about a year or two before the pandemic, and it was just a horrendous experience for me. And I was, you know, it was a 2-day shoot, and I got this really big editing job like a couple of weeks before, and the job was just too much money to turn down. So like I was editing from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. and then we were shooting the movie from 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. the next morning. And so like I did that pretty much 20 days straight. So like I was kind of a zombie. I was having fights with the guy that I ran my business with. It was I was like sleepwalking through it. Like I've been told that I was asleep in front of the monitor for a lot of it. So it didn't. And then, you know, of course it didn't make much money either. So
Did you, in your opinion, do you think it's good? Like, do you enjoy it if you go back and watch it? Or is it just that relates to too much bad times?
I think it's boring. I think that's its problem. It looks pretty good. Performances are good. It's boring. It lacks propulsion. It was a good script. I just kind of dropped the ball directorially.
I mean, I suppose that's the worst thing a film can be. Is boring.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I suppose the worst thing anything.
I don't mind a boring film as long as there's a big payoff at the end. You know, like a slow, like a really slow burn. I really don't mind a slow burn, but it has to pay off.
Well, it has moments, and it was a. I love the script. It was a cool idea. Like it was about this, and this was before Happy Death Day. It was about a woman that dies. And every time she dies, she comes back in kind of a different horror movie scenario within the same.
That's excellent.
Yeah, in the same building. So like she dies the first time, she comes back, or the first time it's like a stranger's like home invasion movie, and then she comes back, and then she's in a body horror, then she comes back and she's in a zombie, and then she comes back and she's like fighting the devil.
Man, that should have worked.
It was like really cool ideas, but then like I said, it basically became, you know, 15 minutes of this girl just like walking around this building before stuff happened. Right. You know, so it got repetitive. Some of the sequences work better than others. I think the zombie sequence is pretty good. I think the devil sequence works for the most part. That's the end of it. The ghost thing would have worked, except we just couldn't pull off the visual effects, so that doesn't quite work. And the body horror is just the effects are good, but it's just a really boring section.
Speaking of the effects, I mean, you've got there's a mixture in your movie of practical and CGI effects. I think there's probably more practical than CGI, I would say. How hard is it to strike that balance?
Well, you know, so we started out this one kind of the same way we did Craving as well, planning on doing 100% practical effects. But, you know, when you're making a movie at this budget level, there's going to be some things that don't work out. You know, there's going to be, you know, like, you know, seams in the suit, or there's going to be, you know, a blood cannon that doesn't go off right, or there's going to be, you know, we had planned for this like transformation thing that we were doing all practically, and it just we just didn't have the time to shoot it. So like stuff like that becomes augmented with CG, you know. Yeah. So I try to limit the use of CG, but you know, I use a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, it's not there's not much of it. There's a few kind of I think a few blood spatter sequences and maybe some morphing going on, but there really isn't that much. And I commend you for that, because I'm a massive fan of practical effects. I mean, going back to Peter Jackson early stuff, he was a huge proponent of that. And I know it's not easy to do, but it's one of these things that you find out when you start kind of dipping into the world of filmmaking, is that you would think that horror films would be the most expensive to make because of the effects and the makeup and the practicals, but then you find out that they're actually the cheapest to make, or probably the cheapest to make. And it always came as a surprise to me.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the only thing where that kind of flips is when you start doing monster stuff. So like, if you're doing like in Craving, we just had one full-bodied monster, and that was expensive as hell. But then in this one, we had whatever 5 or 6 of the plant creatures, and we had all the different reptile things. Yeah. So and then my new movie is like there's like 8 different types of monsters, and they're all complete. One of them's like rod puppets, one of them is kind of like the Blob from the '86 Blob. There's a couple of vampires, there's like there's a Cthulhu type creature, and there's a ghoul. So like
chuck them all in, eh?
It's insane, dude.
Matthewman says, call the woman dying all the time hack to the future.
This is what he does.
the gifts that keep on giving, honestly. It's something else. You were saying about Corey Feldman being in that film. We're actually covering next week his upcoming film, The Birthday. I'm actually waiting to hear back if he's going to come on the show and chat to us about it, but he probably won't, right?
Yeah, who knows?
Very diplomatically done.
Here's just a couple screenshots here, different scenes from the film. Did you feel that everybody lived up to the roles, or did you feel that you had to really amend the characters based on what you had initially written?
Well, so the crowdfunding aspect of it, like I kind of realized early on, the original draft of the script, I was planning to play it a little more like serious, like a little less of the humor. And I realized kind of early on that I wasn't going to get all of that nuance from everyone. So like I kind of leaned in a little more to the satire and the humor, and I played the performances maybe a little broader than I typically would. But at the end of the day, I think, yes, I did it for the crowdfunder, but I think it was the right choice. Like it played for it. Because I really, I believe it's really, really hard to make a good, like straight up, serious, scary horror movie of this type for this kind of budget. So I think I was kind of setting myself up for failure as far as that goes before I even decided to, do anything else.
Yeah.
How much work goes into the crowdfunding side of things? I think a lot of people just think, you just type a little blurb online and ask for money. Yeah,
no, it's a lot. It's like, so when I do a crowdfunder, I spend about 3 months prepping it beforehand. So, I build up a list. I make up a little Excel document of every single person that I'm comfortable, directly asking. So on that day one, I can have maybe 100 donations, even if they're small ones. Yeah. And then in addition to that, you got to start trading material, because with crowdfunders or with anything you're promoting, you have to have different things to post. If you're posting the exact same poster and image over and over and over again, people are just going to tune out. So you have to have different things to post. So I'll create, 7 or 8 different posters, landscapes and, verticals. I'll create my pitch video. I'll do a couple of different versions of that I'll roll out at different points in the campaign. I'll pull up my Word document, and I'll start writing ahead of time social media posts, and I'll have pre-written at least 30 for every day of that campaign that are done. So if I get on a day where I don't know what to say, or I can't think of anything, or it feels forced, it's all there, just copy paste, and then you can do organic posting on top of it.
I totally agree with that. See, even doing this podcast is every week. So I totally feel you. What I do is a lot of the time, essentially I call it the bank. There'll be days where I'll sit down at this computer and I can fire out content and just have it sitting ready. But then there are other days, like you say, you sit down and I'm like, and I've seen me recently, I created a thumbnail for an upcoming Bruce Lee episode we'll be doing, and I was like, that's actually pish, right? And then, and then I said to Matthewman, and Matthewman done such a better one because he's phenomenal.
Yeah.
And he sent it over, and then I compared it with mine, and I went, what was I thinking? Was I actually going to use mine? But at the time, it was the best that I had. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
yeah.
I was totally in that mind frame. So it is great. I totally agree with always being ahead of the curve where content concerns. The minute I saw the poster for A Hard Place, right, I had said to Justin, we'd love to cover this and possibly get an interview if free.
Oh, great.
And straight away after I sent that email, before he even responded, I had created the graphics for this very episode.
Nice.
So I was manifesting that this would happen.
Yeah.
I basically just went ahead and done it. So it was done. So again, moving on to the next thing. And then when I get to the week of, so for me, A Hard Place is a full week of telling our audience this is what we're going to be doing, putting out Twitter everywhere, giving everybody a chance to go and see it, to get their hands on it, watch it. So when they come here, they're able to then have their opinion. Believe it or not, though, most of our audience tune in after we're live. But I think it's a great way, even in like 2025, the fact that we can sit here and anybody that may have watched any of your films has the opportunity to speak directly to you. And you know, the bigger podcasts make you pay for that privilege, but we've always maintained, no matter how big we ever get, if we ever go huge, that we would always do that for free, because you should be able to connect with people that have seen your work.
Oh, totally.
And we're big believers in that. Who are your favorite directors? Who do you aspire to be like, or at least take great?
Yeah. So my all-time favorite is probably Tarantino. I really love
his dialogue.
Dialogue's so awesome, and he's
so good.
He's what inspired me to be like a filmmaker, because you know he the way he talked about it with such passion, and he knows all these movies. And I always tell people, like, I was always a huge movie fan, and I did like independent movies, but I didn't really like. He opened my eyes to what like independent cinema really was, and what foreign cinema was, and you know, like French New Wave and like all this stuff that I'd kind of dipped my toes in, but didn't really like. It made me real. Oh wow, this is cool. So he really kind of started me on my journey. But, you know, I also, as far as like horror guys, you know, it's all the classics. You know, I really, John Carpenter, The Thing is like one of my all-time favorite movies. You know, I really love Sam Raimi's stuff. We talked about Peter Jackson, you know.
Drag Me to Hell, Spider-Man.
Oh, yeah, dude.
That's Sam Raimi.
Dude, yeah. I love Sam Raimi is so cool. And then, you know, and then like newer guys, you know, like I like... shit, what's his name? Fuck, I'm drawing blanks now.
What's the movie?
That's what now I'm it's the Smile guy. I liked those. Smile 1 and 2.
I can't remember his name. Smile 2 I actually thought was better than the first one.
I agree. I felt like it was better in every way. But I really liked those. I liked the Australian one that was out last year, like Talk to Me. I thought that was
excellent.
Yeah, that was
so original. Great idea, by the way. Phenomenal idea. I like that idea of, like, if you look at Jumanji, The Mask, right?
Yep.
The people don't have to be the story. The story can go anywhere. The sequel doesn't have to. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That hand from Talk to Me can end up anywhere. Hell, you could even have that hand show up in an Evil Dead movie.
Yeah, totally.
You know, and I absolutely love it. By the way, Matthewman has sent an update on his beaver with a cleaver poster. Tell me that would not get someone funding. Tell me right now that would secure funding. Matthewman has a question here for you. He says, what's the favourite movie, horror or not? So what's your favourite movie?
Probably maybe Aliens.
Oh, wow.
James Cameron's.
Nice.
Yeah.
Matthewman loves that also. That's a huge. I actually tried to give away a Aliens box set today because I have it on Blu-ray, and I thought someone came into my house today, my brother-in-law, and I thought, would you like this box set? He was like, no. I was like, oh. So I put it back in my collection.
It was either that or Amelie.
Oh,
do you know? I've never seen Amelie.
Amelie's a great movie. But
I think so. I've never seen it.
Yeah. Jean Genot, man, his stuff's really cool. Children of the Lost City is really good. He directed Alien Resurrection, but it was a big mess. But
I love Alien Resurrection, man. I always have. I've got a real soft spot for it. I mean, it does get really silly, but I love it.
Yeah. I don't hate it, but a lot of people do.
What's the one where she's Ripley's crying at the end, and the alien's like proper getting seductive with her, and then
that's it. That's Resurrection.
It gets ripped at the window.
Oh yeah,
that's 4.
Yeah, Resurrection.
Resurrection. I like that
one. I just recently rewatched it and didn't because I remember when it first came out. I hated it because I at the time I was a huge Buffy the Vampire fan.
Mate, my wife is the biggest fan.
Dude, I love that show.
The biggest fan. I've got signed shit for Buffy. We've spoken to people from Buffy.
Love that show. So he wrote it, so I was like, he wrote Resurrection, so I was like, oh, this is going to be on. And I love Jean Genot, so I was like, this is going to be awesome. And they just didn't. The two styles just didn't meld.
I'm a big Alien 3 guy. Doesn't get the love it deserves. Mate, how do you feel about the new Buffy Resurrection?
Oh, you mean the reboot that's coming out?
Yeah. Well, I think it's going to be a continuation, essentially.
Yeah. The Hulu thing. I'm all for it. I'll definitely.
My wife's scared. She's scared. My house has Buffy memorabilia, signed stuff. My wife is big Buffy, so she's like, this is sacred. Don't fuck with it.
My kind of hesitation, and I hate. I'm feeling weird talking about it because Whedon's so canceled now.
I know, right?
But for regardless of what a piece of crap he might be in real life, he was he was the voice of that show, so it's hard for me to imagine it without him. But I'm cautiously optimistic. I'll say that.
I think that's all you can
I only realized last week or something that Joss Whedon wrote Toy Story.
Yeah. The first one,
idea.
Right?
Yeah. I was watching it with my son.
Or Speed.
Firefly.
Oh, I didn't know he wrote Speed.
Yeah, so Graham Yost has the credit on it, but Whedon was a script actor at the time. He did a page 1 on it, rewrote all the dialogue, and then through a WGA arbitration, he ended up losing the credit. But it's him. That's his voice. Yeah.
Man, I love Speed.
Yeah,
the movie.
Yeah. Well, Speed's all right, but it's been a few years. No, I love the movie. I love the movie.
Speed's all right. Hey, wasn't E Honda in Speed?
Oh no, come on! That was a mistake on my part. That's an inside joke. That's an inside joke, Jason.
It's funny. It's funny. We reviewed the movie Street Fighter after all these years, and J Mac was like, "Oh, the guy that plays E Honda is definitely the guy in Speed." And we looked it up, and they could not be so different actors. But he gets slagged off for it.
Were you talking about the black guy that was driving the car?
No.
Okay.
It was
remember the big guy in the bus, Ortiz.
Oh, Ortiz. Okay.
I could have sworn that was the same guy, and I was so fucking wrong.
I was going to say the black guy driving the car. That's Glenn Plummer. That was in Hard Place. He was the black guy at the beginning.
Fuck. Man, that guy's a legend. Oh shit.
Yeah.
I love that guy.
Dude, he's awesome. He was in Monsters in the Woods of mine as well, and another one called The Other Side. Yeah.
I think a lot of people mistake him for the comedian guy. I think. What's his name? Is the guy that's at the start of Armageddon?
Oh man!
Somebody dial 911.
It's been a while since I've seen Armageddon.
I watch it at least once a year, man. It's a terrible movie, but I fucking love it.
We covered it, didn't we? We covered it, and it got,
in depth. Yeah,
and I don't like. We did it. This was before we were live. We put it out. It had 3 views, and then the next day it was 700 people had tuned in to watch it. Must have really liked that film.
Yeah, it's one of these movies, man.
So it's a tearjerker.
So what's you've obviously got your new movie in the works. What did you? I can't remember if you mentioned already the name of your new movie.
Yeah, it's called the Apex Predators Club.
Apex Predators. Right.
It's basically a kind of a most dangerous game situation, but it's like rich people paying to hunt monsters.
Ah, okay. Instead of paying to hunt people, they're paying to hunt monsters.
Paying on monsters. Yeah, and so the monsters are kind of the protagonists, and it's pretty wild. It's probably the most ambitious thing I've done so far.
Is it giving you a headache?
A little. Cool? No, it's going to be cool, but it's a little stressful. we start shooting in July in Los Angeles, and we've been crowdfunding for it. So like I think today, or we're close to 200,000.
Cool, man.
This has cost us Mandalore in it.
Yeah. Cost us Mandalore.
Wow. Felissa Rose.
Felissa Rose is back. Vernon Wells from Mad Max.
I love Vernon Wells, man.
Mate.
There's one more that we haven't announced yet, but I guess I can't say it yet. But he'll
give us a clue. Let's see if we can guess.
No, don't. You get him in trouble. You get him in trouble. Don't.
I won't say it. Even if I guess it right, I won't say it.
I mean, if I say it, you'll know.
Are you sure? Because we don't know much.
Yeah.
People watching might.
The contract has not been signed.
Right. Is it someone that Costas has worked with before? Is it Tobin Bell?
It is someone Costas has worked before, but it is not.
Oh, I know who it'll be. It'll be Shawnee, right?
Shut up, dude.
Mate, I was right. No, well, we'll see, right? Is it female or male?
Male.
All right, well, I was wrong. No. Unless you just threw me a curveball.
You never know.
Well, by the way, you should come back on when this is out if you want to chat about it.
Oh yeah, I'd love to.
The concept seems amazing. The poster looks. Do you know what that reminds me of? That poster. It reminds me of a Scottish film called Dog Soldiers. Are you familiar?
100%. Yes. I love Dog Soldiers. Yeah.
Oh man, I'm so glad that one made it across the pond. That's such a good movie. A great werewolf movie.
Dude, I remember when it first came out, it was independent, and it was playing in our like indie theater in New Orleans. And it was shot on 60 millimeter, and everybody was talking about it, so we all went down, and it was just like, wow, this is awesome. I love that movie.
Do you think who was it that created this poster?
That one was me.
That's good. It definitely has the vibe of Dog Soldiers. You should. I don't know. Down the line. But if you
there's a few different posters for that one. Like I did one that I really like with it's like a tableau of monsters, and there's hunters below them, and it's like in the woods, and then there's like a fairy up in the tree. One of the monsters is a fairy.
What?
Yeah, it's a really diverse group of monsters.
Good, because in 2025, that's all we need is diversity. That's what makes everything good, right? Excellent. It's been an absolute pleasure talking to you. You're very much welcome back on anytime. We would definitely love when that comes out. That looks incredible. So we'd definitely love to review that and to have you back on to chat about it, of course.
Yeah, that'd be great.
So you know when it'll be out roughly?
It'll probably be close to a year. It'll towards the end of this year, maybe.
Yeah. Well, we will definitely keep our eyes open. Where would you like anybody that's watching tonight or in the future, because a lot of people tune in after the fact, where would you like everybody to go to follow your journey on the Apex Predators Club?
Yeah. So you can find me pretty much anywhere at the J Horton. And then the Apex Predators Club, it's apexpredatorsclub.com. And on YouTube, I'm youtube.com/J Horton. Those are my mains.
Perfect.
Nice and easy.
We'll of course post updates when we see them come through as well.
Awesome.
It's going to be excellent to see what comes of that, because it looks very interesting, to say the least. Can't thank you enough for coming on, and we encourage anybody that is able to go and check out A Hard Place. You can find it on Apple TV. It's available there. Is this a physical release coming soon?
Yes, so it'll be on DVD and Blu-ray. Probably, I mean, they're processing it now, so I would guess it'll hit in like July or August.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Well, there we go. We'll need to update our collection with that. Is there anything you'd like these fine folks to know before we let you go back to sleeping at your keyboard?
Just that if you do check out this movie or any other independent film, and even if you like it just a little bit, you don't have to love it. Just say you like it a little bit. Go to IMDb, give the movie a fair rating. Whether it's mine or somebody else's. Because there's so many trolls out there that just give, this is a low budget movie, give it a 1. This is a low budget movie, give it a 1. So get out there and support it. If you use Letterboxd, leave reviews for them there, Rotten Tomatoes, and any of that stuff. It really, really helps small movies and creators like this. It's a way to support independent film without spending the dime.
Totally. It's
Cool.
it's incredible. So yeah, and it's the first search when you type in A Hard Place on IMDb. So make sure you do that, and we'll of course definitely do that as well. Like I say, Jay Horton, it'll be great to speak to you again in the future, especially with your new film. Good luck with that, and we hope everything goes smoothly. It's been an absolute pleasure to chat to you tonight, and we will definitely have you back on at a later date.
Awesome. Look forward to it.
Thanks again, buddy.
Thanks,
Everybody
Jay.
have a great week, and we shall see you next week, Sunday at 9 p.m. Take it easy.
Kevin on the mic, sharp like a blade. Jay Mack cracks a joke, got the crowd swayed. Sundays light up as they set the stage. Two voices cutting through the digital age. Oh, Kevin and Jay Mack, they roll like thunder. The bond isn't fake, it'll blow you under. They laugh, they clap, but they never found her. Brothers in the spotlight, no love is louder. Tunes and loyal week after week. She laughs till her ribs ache, the jokes that they speak. Matthew Min drops his takes, always on point. The podcast rolls smooth, two kings on the joint. Oh, Kevin and Jay Mack, they